The summer of 2021 saw Premier League clubs splash in excess of £1.1 billion in the signing of 253 different players. Fast forward 11 match days, it's the international break, and here at the Parliament, I've been joined by Anshuraj, Hakam, and Nityam as we rate each signing made by the PL Big Six teams and place them in this beautiful, wonderful tier list that Anshuraj has made for us today. So, hello and welcome to the Football Parliament podcast, your one stop destination for all your football debates, discussions, and opinions. As usual, before starting, a very quick reminder to hit the subscribe button and support the channel. Let's start with the first player, Ben White. Nityam, over to you.
Ben White cost us £50 million, which is very expensive, but he is very young. He has a lot of potential and he's English. And he had a very tricky start to the season, performing very averagely against Brentford and Ivan Toney in particular. But since he had COVID, after he started playing with Gabriel, he has been excellent for us. Uh, yeah, he has been very good with the ball at his feet. His dribbling has been key to us, and I think he's a solid signing.
I'll have to agree with you over there, Nityam. I think he's been one of the main catalysts behind this small, turn of fortunes that has happened lately to Arsenal. Very composed with the ball at his feet, really good in all aspects of defending after he recovered from COVID. And according to me, solid signing as well. Hakam or Anshuraj, do you all disagree?
No, I think we can overlook the um, uh, bad performance against Ivan Toney because Ivan Toney is the best striker in the league. So yeah, so we can excuse that. So Ben White has been a solid signing.
Right then, Ben White, solid signing. I'll just correct the typing mistake. But then till now, let's talk about the headline grabber, the most famous signing when it comes to the Premier League in recent times. It's the return of Cristiano Ronaldo to Manchester United, and thus I'll seek the opinion of the only Manchester United fan that we have with us. How come your thoughts on Ronaldo?
Ronaldo has been a season-defining signing for us, of course. Without him, we would have lost so many games. He's basically carrying us through the season, and we'd be fighting for like the fifth or sixth spot without him. And he's even clutched up in the Champions League, of course. And so that's why he should be put in season defining. But for the amount of times he saved Ole's job, saved Ole from the sack, for that he should be put in the flop category. But that's something for another day.
All right, then. Season defining is something that's quite obvious. I think anything other than season defining won't be fair to someone without whom Manchester United would probably be battling for Europa League right now in their Champions League group. I've seen people say that there's nothing really that Ronaldo is doing right now that Edinson Cavani wouldn't. As much as I like Cavani as a player, Ronaldo is probably the most clutch player in world football, and he's showing it again at the age of 36. Moving on to the next player, it's the most expensive English player of all time. Anshuraj, your thoughts on your winger midfielder, Jack Grealish?
I think he's been pretty decent so far. He's ranked second in the Premier League for open play chances created with 26, only behind Bruno Fernandes, who has played exactly 200 minutes more than him. So in terms of chance creation, I think Grealish has maintained his Aston Villa levels. He's been unlucky not to get more assists, but still, for £100 million player, like 3 goals and assists in 9 games so far is a bit underwhelming. But I don't think Jack Grealish was brought to be like the goal scorer and at Manchester City anyway. So if we're judging by what he has brought to the team, I think he's been decent. But if you take into consideration his price tag, then underperforming, I think, is the category for him.
Nityam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like Ansharat said, he has been very decent at times, but if he was a 60 million signing, I would have put him in decent. But since he's not, and since he cost City 100 million pounds, I think he's an underperforming signing.
All right, then we'll go with what the majority says. We'll go with underperforming. Moving on, let's take an Arsenal player who were the record spenders across Europe this season. Let's talk about Aaron Ramsdale. Nityam, again, Ramsdale, what do you think?
Aaron Ramsdale is my favorite player at Arsenal right now, along with Saka and Smith Rowe. He has transformed the team since he started for us over Leno, and it's not only his stops like against Leicester, but his Ederson like distribution and his attitude and spirit which he brings to the team, which is why I think he is a season defining signing for us.
I have to agree with you over there. I think I particularly have this soft spot kind of thing for players who were very criticized over social media, over football socials, Twitter, and all, which was the case for Aaron Ramsdale, as the transfer fee and the fact that Leno was a decent enough shot stopper looked made this transfer look a bit ambiguous. But however, since he has displaced Leno, I'm pretty sure he has more clean sheets than goals conceded. So that's quite an impressive start. He has had his moments, like the save against Leicester, already a contender for save of the season. All in all, I'll agree with Nityam as we put Aaron Ramsdale in a season-defining signing. Next up, let's talk about staying in defense. Let's talk about the centre back from France, Rafa Varane. How come your thoughts on Varane?
Varane has been a solid signing for us. His price tag was a very cheap one for a centre back of his quality. 4 Champions Leagues, of course, he's won at Real Madrid, and his performances at Man United have been decent. Uh, no, actually, they've been solid. He changed our defense completely. He brought a lot of confidence to our defense, who was struggling before his arrival. Actually, they weren't struggling, but after his injury, we've started struggling a lot. Like uh, the the absolute uh, demolition of our team at Liverpool. I mean, at Old Trafford, but by the hands of Liverpool. And yeah, so his injury has been a very sad thing for us, and for that, he is a solid signing.
Sure, do you agree with Varane being the solid signing?
Yeah, I mean, Man United have only lost 2 games when he's played. So, and then considering the recent form, I think that's way better than what they are, in right
Yeah.
now. So his lack of presence on the field, as Hakam said, has been felt quite. It's everyone has seen what his lack of presence has done for Manchester United, and for that, I think yes, I agree with Hakam. We have to put him in solid side.
Right then, let's have a player from my club now. We've signed only 2. How about the big man, Romelu Lukaku, a record-breaking transfer for Chelsea, a record-breaking transfer in many aspects, becoming the player with the most combined transfer fees in football. A mixed start to life at Chelsea, return to Chelsea so far. The start of his start, we could say, was actually quite good when he bagged goal on his debut against Arsenal. He was quite dominant, held the ball up really well, followed by a brace against Aston Villa, then proved clutch when he secured all 3 points for Chelsea against Zenit in a match that was heading to a stalemate. But towards the second half, of this season, the small season that's gone so far, it was some poor performances, particularly the ones I remember against Manchester City, against Liverpool. Virgil van Dijk completely pocketed him against Juventus, where he missed a good enough chance. And because of this, and when you consider his price tag, the fact that he's injured right now, for me, he's somewhere between this decent and underperforming. So I'll leave it to y'all. Anshuraj, your thoughts, Romelu Lukaku?
As you said, like he started off his second Chelsea stint pretty positively, but then he has slowed down quite considerably in the recent games. So for that, I think we'd have to put him in underperforming, taking into account his transfer fee and that Chelsea have coped quite effectively without him. You know, the 7-0 demolition of
Yeah,
Norwich being a pretty good example of how they have not really missed him in attack that much. So
that's a good point. Right then, Romelu Lukaku goes to underperforming. How about we move on to Liverpool's only signing of the season, which is Ibrahim Konate? How come your thoughts on Konate?
I think in the 3 games he's played this season, he's been solid. In the Man United game, he didn't have much to do except for laughing at Fred's face. And his performances have been decent, and he isn't a starting centre back. Of course, Virgil van Dijk and Joel Matip start over him. And I haven't watched a lot of him this season because he hasn't played a lot. But the times I've watched him, he's been a solid player.
Natam, what are your thoughts on Ibrahim Konate?
I think on the same lines, I don't think he has been given enough opportunities, but whenever Klopp has called upon him to step in and either give VVD a rest or give Matip a rest, he has done his job, and I think he's yet to concede a goal for Liverpool.
All right. So where are we finally putting Konate? Is it the decent or the solid signing category? Your quick words, starting with
Solid
Nikhil.
signing, solid signing.
What do you think, Anshuraj?
Yeah, solid signing.
All right, then we'll
I
go
agree
for
with them. Solid sign.
quite a pattern over here. We've got 3 centre backs in the solid signing tier. Moving on to let's have someone from Tottenham, a club that we haven't covered yet. I think let's have another centre back since we're talking about them. Let's have the Argentine centre back Christian Romero. Anshuraj, your thoughts on Romero?
Romero was Serie A's defender of the season in 2021. So that
Okay.
just goes to show that he's a great defender and that his quality is on a pretty good level. But for Tottenham, I think he hasn't played like a lot of games, and I think he's been put into the side recently, and in that time, I mean, if he's playing for Tottenham are not a great team. His teammates are not up to the same level as him, and for a defender, I think it's more important to be part of a good unit rather than being a great defender by yourself. So we can't really judge his impact based off like his recent performances, but still, I think he is underperforming because Spurs have not been great, and defensively also, like
Yeah. Natyam, your thoughts on
Christian
your
Romero has
North
struggled.
London rival?
I think Romero has been a little bit up and down. He got a red recently in the Conference League, but sometimes he's been excellent for Tottenham, and I think he's still adapting to the new country. And once Antonio Conte comes in and actually restructures the defensive line of Tottenham, I think he'll be decent.
I'll have to agree with you over there. I think Romero, for what he's shown us, I think he can definitely be a lot better. As Anshrat said, was the Serie A defender of the year last season. He's been decent in all aspects, according to me. He's been quite average with the ball at his feet. His passing accuracy is just below 85%, which is not quite impressive for a centre back, especially one who's known for being a good ball playing centre back as Romero. All in all, I think I'll agree with you all. And for now, with the fact that defense is a lot to do with the entire structure of the team rather than just one individual, we will put him in underperforming. Moving on, then, let's talk about the player because of which I actually thought of creating this last tier over here. Because let's talk about the 72 was it a million signing of English youngster Jadon Sancho. How come your thoughts on Sancho?
Yeah, Sancho has been a flop this season. like judging by the 11 games, of course. The Bundesliga has scammed the Premier League once again. But like last season in the Bundesliga, he started performing after the first half of the season, of course, and I think that's what's going to be the case this season, unless Ole isn't sacked and he's turned into a right wing back, and so he'll definitely flop then. But judging by the 11 games, we have to put him in flop. And players like so last year, players like Kai Havertz and Timo Werner were criticized and called flops after like the first quarter of the season. And that's what's gonna happen with Sancho. He's gonna start getting his form after a couple games. And yeah, like Kai Havertz scored a goal in the Champions League final, and Timo Werner broke the heart of our beloved Manish. Yes, that's all I had to say. So he
I
should,
think,
of course.
yeah, as Hagam rightly pointed that we at the Football Parliament podcast don't really feel that player can be deemed flop, irrespective of how bad he's been just after, one quarter of a season. But just the word flop has been given to kind of show that this is the last category and the lowest that it can get for these 11 games for any players. Something that Sancho does fit, but no doubts about his talent. Really an exceptional player. We hope that he bounces back. Not really, because I'm a Chelsea fan. Nonetheless, let's move on to the right back from Arsenal, Tomiyasu. Nityam, your thoughts on who is your Korean or Japanese fullback? I'm not so sure. Sorry, that didn't mean to be racist. I'm just not sure about his nationality.
Yeah, for your information, he's Japanese, and that's okay. Tomiyasu and Emerson. So they come to him later, of course, but we were basically linked with each other's club, and so Tomiyasu was linked with Tottenham heavily, but on deadline day, Arsenal came forward and he rejected Tottenham, which is obvious. I mean, who would not? But yeah, he has been excellent for us. He was originally a right center back for Bologna, but now he is playing on the right hand side of our defense in a four formation. uh, yeah, he still has to improve a lot while going forward, but he has been excellent for us defensively, and it's very nice to see a good, fresh right back for us instead of Cedric and Bellerin. So I'll put him as a solid signing.
I'll have to agree with Nityam over there. Of what I've seen him, he just reminds me of someone like an Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who is more of a defensive-minded right back. As Nityam mentioned, he was a right centre back in his previous club, but he brought the solidarity that Arsenal desperately needed after some poor performances from their former right backs like Hector Bellerin. So yes, solid signing seems fair. Moving on to the next player. We spoke about Emerson Royal, so how about we talk about him right now? Anshul, your thoughts on Royal?
I mean, as many of you all know, Emerson was signed by Barcelona from Real Betis, but then somehow he has ended up at Tottenham in the same exact transfer window. I've talked about like how badly the club has treated him in previous videos, and yeah, for Tottenham, I'm not like formed a concrete opinion on it because he's still new to England and is adapting to the culture and the new play style. But whatever I've seen of him, I think he is underperforming. He's not been up to the standard, and you could, I mean, you
Yeah,
can't really blame him. He's playing for a very average Tottenham defense. So
all right.
for that, I'll put him in underperforming.
And how come do you agree with Emerson being underperforming?
Yeah, I haven't seen him play a lot this season, and his morale must be down being transferred twice in the same window. And so I think underperforming is the right one.
All right, then we'll stick to underperforming. Very surprisingly, it's only players from London that's left in the tier list right now. Let's wrap up with Chelsea with our discussion on Saul Niguez, a player who was, quite clearly signed as a backup to N'Golo Kante and Mateo Kovacic. But right now he is actually a backup to Kante, Kovacic, Barkley, and Loftus-Cheek. That's how far off the pecking order he's found himself. Only 239 minutes. His debut came in the League Cup, I think, where he was subbed off after just 45 minutes, where Thomas Tuchel said that he wasn't quite able to match the speed and the intensity of English football. And he was replaced by Jorginho, who completely changed the complexion of the game. So Saul, limited chances, limited minutes. There are talks about him returning to Atletico Madrid come January. All in all, with the lack of minutes and not too many eye-catching performances, I think that underperforming would be a fair bracket for Saul. Anshad, what do you think?
Saul has not really been a part of the Atletico Madrid setup as well since the last couple of seasons. So I mean, his signing was a bit of a question mark from Chelsea because I watch La Liga quite regularly, and it was like why did Chelsea sign? So I mean, in my opinion, I think he's been a flop. You
Right.
might say that he's underperforming, but I think he's been a flop. He's like completely now sidelined, I guess, because of a couple of very poor performances, and I see a very similar situation to Van de Beek, but unlike Van de Beek, he's not great at football.
That might be a harsh remark, but nevertheless, Nityam, what do you think on Saul Niguez, his position over here on this tier list?
I think he has been poor, but I think Ansharaj was just a little bit harsh. I'll say he is underperforming because he hasn't been given the minutes to show his quality.
I think that's a fair point that we can't really call him a flop, but then we've done the same thing with Jadon Sancho. I think I'll leave the decision to Hakam now then, underperforming or flop.
I think the lack of minutes plays a big part, and the lack of minutes is why I think he should be put in underperforming and not all out and out flop.
All right, then Saul Niguez goes to the underperforming tier. We've got 4 players left. Let's talk about Martin Odegaard. Thankfully, we don't have Manish over here, or else he would have put in a different tier altogether for him. But no, on a serious note, Anityam, what do you think of Martin Odegaard?
This summer, our main target was a central attacking midfielder, and we signed Odegaard. He has been quite good, but one thing I have to say is whenever he plays, he works his socks off for us, which is a very good quality for a attacking midfielder to have. And as an Arsenal fan, watching Ozil all these years, it's very magical, I'll say, the way he works himself. But yeah, he scored that beautiful free kick against Burnley. But now Arteta has changed to a 4-4-2 formation where we don't need an attacking midfielder. So I think he's been decent.
All right. So if you feel he's been decent, I'll kind of agree with you over there. He's been good in the minutes that he's been given, but as you mentioned towards the latter part of your opinion, that he is currently not in the squad with both Aubameyang and Lacazette playing together. All in all, I think decent will be a fair enough judgment of that. The last player, I think, is that Brian Hill. I think, Ansha, that's really poor choice of photo because I can't even see him. Anyway, your thoughts on Brian Hill?
I've not really seen a lot of him because he's not played a lot, but he is a very promising player. Tottenham, I think I've invested smartly here in a young left winger because Son, I think, is going to enter his 30s very shortly. So a left-sided player was a necessity for them. Plus, they didn't really have great backup. Steven Bergwijn has been on and off, and he's not very consistent. So Brian Hill is a great signing, but unlike Son, he's more of a creative player, but he's not really played a lot. So I think for that we have to put him in underperforming because he's not really giving Son like great competition for the left hand side of the Tottenham attack.
I personally feel he's a really young player coming into a new league, new type of football. He released a positive statement which said that he's enjoying his life in London, yeah, in Premier League football. He picked up a knock against Burnley as well. All in all, he's not delivered anything. He doesn't have any sort of goals and assists to his name, but he looks bright. He looks like a decent enough player. He hasn't played a lot. I personally feel that a decent would be a fair assessment, but Hakam and Nityam, whatever you all think. Starting with Hakam.
Yeah, I think we haven't seen him play basically at all, and he's a good investment. And but judging on his performances, like I don't know, I think decent is just fair because he's very young to be put in underperforming.
All right, then
We didn't expect anything magical from him. So yeah.
Finally, then to conclude, we've got two players in Nuno Tavares and Sambi Lukonga. Nityam, your thoughts on starting with Tavares?
Last year, Tyranny showed how inconsistent and injury prone he can be. And I think we really needed a left back, a backup left back for him. And we signed Tavares for a little under 10 million pounds, which I think is a bargain right now, especially because of how he's playing attacking wise. He's almost matching Tyranny's crossing and his desire to move forward. And the biggest compliment as an Arsenal fan I can give Tavares is that we are not missing Tyranny. I think he's a very solid signing from us.
I'll have to agree with you then, Nityam. Anshuraj, your thoughts on Nuno Tavares?
I mean, in his last two games for Arsenal, he's played the full 90. So I think that goes to show that, as Nityam said, that Arsenal are not missing Kieran Tierney in any way or form. He has almost been pretty identical. That's very smart business from Arsenal there to invest in a very similar kind of left back, sorry, in case of any misfortune to Tierney. So yeah, I think decent is the tier for me because he's not really solidified himself into a starter. So decent, I think he's fulfilling what he's doing, what he was brought in to do. So I think that is why decent is what he should get.
And Hakam, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree with Anshuraj. Decent, he should be in decent. Solid is way too high for someone who hasn't been so special. So yeah, decent is the right category for him.
Right then, the last player that we will talk about is Sambi Lukonga. Nityam, since you're an Arsenal fan, you can give your opinions on him.
Lukonga is still very young. He's still 21. He was the Anderlecht captain last year for pretty much the whole season. And we bought him for 17 million pounds, which is not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. I think his passing range is just amazing and he's shown flashes of his brilliance, but I think he's still very raw and he's still going to develop. So I think he's a decent signing for us.
Right. Anshuraj or Hakam, do any of you all want to differ?
No, I agree with Nityam.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, Nityam is right. Decent is fair.
Right then, with that, we have completed placing all of these players in the different tiers. Just to read it out, the two season defining signings according to us are Cristiano Ronaldo, Aaron Ramsdale, Ben White, Ibrahim Konate, Tomiyasu, and Rafael Varane take the solid signings. Decent signings, we've got Martin Odegaard, Brian Hill, Nuno Tavares, Sambi Lukonga, Jack Grealish, Romelu Lukaku, the two heavy money signings going and underperforming, along with Christian Romero, Emerson Royal, Saul Niguez, and a bit harsh but somewhat true, Jadon Sancho takes the only flop in our tier list. So that will be it for today's video. quite a fun discussion. These tier list videos are always quite fun. Thank you. If you're listening till the end, make sure to comment your PL signing of the season so far, your thoughts on the entire tier list, and if you have any video suggestions for us, make sure you to put them down in the comments. For more top quality football content, keep listening to the Football Parliament podcast. Thank you.